Hi, my name is Choudhary. I'm a former teacher. Now I'm a stay-at-home mom, trying to be fit and healthy as much as possible while raising our toddler at home. I'm doing my best to share with other moms information that I've learned in my years of being a teacher, as well as my years of being home, to help other moms along their journey as well. A couple weeks ago, Anthony's my son, our son, Anthony and I went to Indianapolis to visit our family, my aunt and uncle and cousins. And while we were there, he developed a fever, was very lethargic, and by the end of our journey, probably a day and a half after the fever began, he started to say that his mouth was hurting him. He's 2.5, and so my aunt did some research on Google as I was holding him sleeping in my lap, and she was saying that she had found that maybe it's 2-year molars, that 2-year molars are often really painful for the kids and that they can't really describe too much what they feel. So I sort of chalked it up to, okay, this is what it is. We're giving him Tylenol, we're giving him Motrin for the pain, and we're doing what we can to help him with his pain. Well, Thursday morning, this is like the third day of the fever. Thursday morning, I'm asking him, to open his mouth, and he won't let me open his mouth. So I call the doctor just to be sure, now that we're back at home again in the Chicagoland area. And the nurse said, well, his symptoms do sound like teething. So as long as, he feels like, you feel like you're doing everything you can for him and he's comfortable, that's fine. But if you feel like you can see in his mouth a little bit and you see something that's just even a little bit disturbing, something that you don't like, call and we'll get him in right away. Okay. So I did my best, but he wouldn't let me in his mouth. And I finally was like, there was something, that mommy instinct inside that said, you got to look inside of his mouth. So I figured out a way to get in there, and sure enough, I see white spots all over his tongue. But that's just, to me, a sign of something's not right. Call the doctor again. Got him in to see the doctor, and she did a strep test, and she did a herpes test. Herpes, as soon as she said the word herpes, I think I flipped, because I'm like, that has such a negative connotation to it. How can that even be something that my 2-year-old has? What happened? And she said that oral herpes, is very common in little ones, especially toddlers, because they do put their hands in their mouth a lot. And if they touch something, let's say, for example, at a playground or at a water park, a splash pad, and then touch their mouth, after they've touched that, they've come in contact with it, and now it's come in contact with his mouth. Well, he had, sores all down here on the bottom of his lip, and he had sores all on his mouth, gums, throat, the back of his throat, his palate, is that what it's called, up in the top? The gums, inside of his mouth, everything. It was terrible. He didn't want to eat, didn't want to drink. We were using syringes to get the water in, so it did end up being the herpes. She, prescribed an antiviral for him, which helped him. And he was on Motrin and Tylenol for a week until we got everything cleaned up and cleared up in him. And he lost a lot of weight because he wasn't eating. We just used that syringe to get the liquid in him. We had to take him to the doctor a second time and thought we were going to admit him to the hospital because I was having a hard time getting him to drink. But we pushed it because we knew it would be even worse in the hospital. So why am I sharing this? Because I know that if I were a mom and we're looking for some information, that this would be totally helpful to me. So, if you're thinking that, your child is about 2 and, could be teething, just check. Just check anytime. Just check all the time and look in the mouth. And if you see those sores, make sure you call the doctor right away, because I chalked it up to, hey, he doesn't want to open his mouth because he's teething. And when I finally did look in, I saw that there was something wrong. So don't underestimate it. Make sure you double check if possible, and you won't be sorry. If you have any other clues, would you leave them underneath below of things that you noticed that were signs of whether it be herpes dermatitis or something else that would be helpful to a mom, please, or a dad, please put that down below. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My information is below, facebook.com/KiddyChoudhary, as well as my Twitter handle and my blog. And I'd be happy to help you with anything else.